The rocky foothills of northwest Montana. Rugged, remote, but beautiful. Once home to the Sioux and Blackfoot natives. But in the late 1800s, many hopeful European miners and settlers flocked to this area in search of gold, silver, game, and their own slice of what was known as the American dream. Some found fame and fortune, but most found hardship, hunger, and a harsh way of living. This is the story of Garnet, Montana. Grizzly drunks, pistols at dawn, rampant womanizing, and dangerous outlaws. There really wasn't much of that here in Garnet, but it did start out that way. That kind of stuff went on just about a mile down the road here in Beartown. Not much is left of this rough and tumble mid-19th century town, but a few collapsed shacks and some old abandoned mines. And some bears. Things began to change in 1895. A guy named Dr. Mitchell built a stamp mill to process local ore. And a miner named Sam Ritchie discovered a very rich lode of gold ore just outside of town. And the boom began.
By 1889, the word was out, and people from near and far began to flock to Garnet. But this time, miners brought their families with them, or started families of their own. And by 1890, the population was well over 1,000 people. A single-room schoolhouse served more than 40 children. Other entrepreneurs soon followed. There were 4 general stores, there was a butcher, 2 barber shops, and even a candy store. 4 hotels, a blacksmith shop, and of course, 13 saloons. As with many mining towns, however, the boom was short-lived. As soon as the mines started running dry, the population began to fall. It became too expensive and too dangerous to keep digging further. And by 1905, the population had dropped to about 150. In 1912, a fire broke out and destroyed many of the buildings in the business district. The breakout of World War I drew many of the remaining miners out of town and into defense-related jobs. Families abandoned their cabins, leaving behind often their furniture and other belongings. There were a few holdouts, however, including Frank Davies, owner of the town's last remaining general store. Garnet did, however, enjoy a short-lived revival in the 1930s, when President Roosevelt more than doubled the price of gold. Much like before, however, the breakout of World War II drew the miners away once again. And wartime restrictions on the use of blasting agents made mining practically impossible. And in 1947, after the death of holdout Frank Davies, Garnet was finally declared a ghost town. We'll bring this tale to an end with a story of Edward Warren, kind of a pioneer hippie. Mr. Warren was a Civil War veteran
After the war, he decided to make his way to Montana and take up his hand in mining. Turns out, though, he wasn't much of a miner and was kind of a loner, but he did love people for the part. He played the town's Santa Claus and spent months building a trail about a mile through town out to a beautiful overlook where he built a park, complete with swings, picnic benches, and places for miners and their families to relax and take in the views of the Blackfoot Hills. Eventually, in the early 50s, Mr. Warren retired to Long Beach, California. I love places like this, and if you're watching, chances are you do too. They're a part of our history and heritage. They're really cool and are quite educational. And I can highly encourage people to get out and enjoy them. But also, please respect them. Respect private property. Don't vandalize or take anything from these historic places. Don't enter unstable structures. And never, ever enter abandoned mines. Some of these locations are maintained and preserved by volunteers and nonprofit organizations. If you ever feel so inclined to volunteer or donate to them, please do so and help maintain these amazing pieces of American history and education for future generations to enjoy. And as always, thank you so much for joining me today. Like, share, subscribe, and please leave some feedback. It's always much appreciated. Thanks again.